Hey, what's going on, Tactical 40K? We just got done with our first RTT of God knows when. It's been a while. So anyway, this one was a local event. I took custodes because I haven't played in such a long while. It's just easier with the model count. But what I did is I changed my list a little bit. I got another grav tank, so we're running. At the moment, we ran 2 grav tanks. This takes a step back. This goes back to my theory of redundancy. So I did 2 grav tanks, 2 Alaris Terminator bricks. One was a 5-man, one was a 3-man. 2 blade champs with wardens, 2 Venatari 3-man units, and then a Caladius assassin. That was the only single unit thing. I believe that's it. Anyway, 4-man wardens, by the way. No enhancements or anything. I ran them in shield host. So if you counted that out, I have 2 characters minimizing assassination and or trying to minimize it as much as you can at Custodes Army, because you kind of want some characters. Didn't take bikes. I played a list with bikes just the other day, and they're okay, but for the points cost, man, the tanks are hard to beat, especially when you're trying to make when you're going to an event, you don't know exactly what you're going to be coming against. So anyway, I played 3 rounds. I played one against a pretty hard Necrons army, Waken Dynasty. They had a couple of Doomsday arcs and Catan, that I think the Nightbringer, and then some Immortal, or whatever those guys are, Immortals or whatever. Anyway, played them, hard game, felt like I was losing the first round, kind of do that with Custodes, it feels like, and then came back and won it points wise. Played a Kroot Horde list and then a Shooty Big Tank Tau list. And except first couple rounds in either of those games, my dice rolls, I mean, everybody says that, but I legitimately was rolling a lot of ones. I don't know what it is. It just kind of happens, but that's why I mitigate my list. I run my list to mitigate those things, because one particular roll was like maybe like 8 or 10 dice, and I rolled like 7 ones or something like that. It was crazy. It was like Yahtzee, but I had that significantly to the point where the judges there were making fun of it a little bit, and so were my opponents, but I mitigated that enough. And acceptance of losing units, acceptance of losing the short game or the first couple rounds in order to win the long game. We played things, I believe the ritual, or it's like Mission L, Mission Q, and one other one. So they were all like going across the board shoreways deployments. And the way the train layout is, I think it was layout number GW4 or whatever, is really open. So it wasn't really conducive with my infantry units, but my tanks, they loved it. Or there was one deployment where you're deploying in the corners. So the other 2 were across the table. So it was interesting games. Probably the Necrons was the first game, was the hardest one that I had to go into, and he just made a couple mistakes bringing his Satan, just where my 2 tanks can blow it up, and I had, mentally I had to be willing to lose tanks, so I put them out there, kind of took out some key assets, let him just kind of destroy them, and then ran around scoring. And that's the key takeaway of this whole thing, is even though I have a small model count in this particular army, is you have to be willing to trade units as particular times. So you can play KG, but then you also want to be able to trade units. And then the other thing is, like, there was opportunities that arose in the way the deployment was, or the first who went first, where it allowed me to do what needs to be done with Custodes. A lot of times, where the way I play them is I need to interrupt him in a way to take away his plan. So that might be like my first turn on the last game against Shooty Tau. He deployed in such a way that I just, all right, well, I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to run them straight up the board and just get into your dudes. And I was able to get up there, roll a pretty decent advance, charge into one of his battle suits, kill that thing, and then engage another unit. And he did chew through those wardens, but it took him 2 turns, and I was already back to his home objective by that time. It's pretty crazy. But what it did is it really disrupted his plans, and then he played around that. And it got into his head and started, trying to play faster, and it just interrupted his flow. which is what you kind of want to do when you're doing this. So if you can interrupt their plans and force them to react to you, then that allows you space on the battlefield to go do these other things, score points. So it was decent. So those last two games were pretty handed victories. I've been toying with going to this next event with my Raven Guard or Dark Angels, but what I want to do is bring some Assault Marine bricks in these lists. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that, because I got some lists built, and the way I'm seeing the meta around here, I'm like, this would be fun to play with the Raven Guard list, because I can uppy downy a little bit more than I can with my custodes. Yeah, my Terminators can, and my Cladius can, but if I had some more aspects of the combined arms, shooting from long range, prepping the battlefield, moving around, uppy downy, now you get the +1 to wound on the targets. I mean, it's looking pretty cool. And then I'm just looking at these Assault Marines. I'm like, from what I do, combining some of the elements of the custodes, these guys might do that. And maybe we'll take Ultramarines, but I'm trying to do straight Shrike Marines if we can. Or I got the new Lion model, so Dark Angels are on my mind too. And I've got that almost, well, actually it's done, hang on. It's not completely painted. But he's right here. So he himself is a brick to throw in there. So we will be fielding him. He's actually painted pretty well for me. And but I still got some things to do, basing, some more sword stuff, and then on his cape here. And then, yeah, just inside here, do some things. But he's tabletop. He's battle ready and ready to go slay some people. So this dude, pretty awesome. And I think we got some plays with him to interact with. So I kind of want to get him on the tabletop, haven't played him. So we might do that instead. But I just been looking at these Assault Marines. I'm like, yeah, they kind of do combine the element of custodes, especially if you run Thunderhammers, but Raven Guardish, I kind of want the Lightning Claws. But we'll see. It's probably going to be Thunderhammers because I don't have time to kit bash a bunch of these Lightning Claw guys that I have. I have some Lightning Claws, but if we do that, you're talking about you're talking about 4 wound Terminators, hammers, Thunderhammers, 822 dev wounds. You put a character in there, you can get some other things going on there too. So it looks pretty interesting. Rapid ingress them, roll them in. If you're in Gladius, obviously you can get them in Assault, and then you're really getting into people's faces and disrupting some things. And then with Space Marines being such a well-rounded army, you get some maneuvering elements, you get some of these things, and you start putting some really good scores on the board. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Peace.